It's a man's world, or so we're told. But what really constitutes a man? What are the traditional requisites and are they adequate? What are they based on? And what are they conducive for them, their female counterparts, as well as the society at large?
We've all grown accustomed to attributes such as physical strength, emotional aloofness, social and economic dominance, and even promiscuity.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as some of the qualities that attribute to a real man.
Mm.
We have seen these qualities depicted in movies, in pop culture, and in our communities as well, right? So of course, these are not the only traits. What is also considered a real man, who is devoted to work, who is able to provide for his family as well.
But listen, Sandy, the socialization of man seems to emphasize more on the ability of a man to fight, his emotional repression, him being dominant towards a female, socially and economically, and how many girlfriends and sexual partners he's able to have at one go. I told you, you can be an outstanding citizen, a decent human being, but being some, but not being able to control your woman or having multiple sex partners proves that you're not man enough for some reason. As a result, men go through extreme measures to prove themselves, to prove their worth, to assert their masculinity in order to be accepted in a group of friends, prestigious social settings, and in society as a whole. And this usually is at the expense of women through misogyny. So I just want to know from you, Sandy, what is a man?
I mean, that's a very broad question, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I think for me, a man is somebody that is able to empower a woman. A man is a person that is able to look after his woman, and not look after because he feels that he has to do it, but because it's something that he wants to do as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
A man is a protector, right? A man is a leader, but not forced leadership, in my view. I mean, if you're a man, a woman must want to be led by you because of your actions and how you carry yourself and how you just, your values and principle and how you really view the world will basically make that woman say, this is a man and it is a man's world, simply because of those values and how you carry yourself and how you just respect people around you and how you respect yourself as well. So having multiple sexual partners, I don't know if that makes you a man. I'm not sure if that even says that you're man enough. But I think it's a thing. It's been happening for years. It's been happening.
But that's the current socialization of males in our society. I mean, we've mentioned that you may have very good qualities as a human being, right? But as soon as you're not physical enough or you do not show physical strength, as soon as you show emotions, you're weak. As soon as you're not promiscuous, as soon as you're flamboyant, you're not man enough. As soon as you are not self-sufficient and self-reliant, you're not man enough. Why do we have such a hardcore exterior of what a man should be?
And I think for me, like I've explained what a man is for me, yes, maybe the physical part I think plays literally 5% of the overall what a man is or what a man should be. I think for me it's basically what you bring on the table. Yes, if you are physically strong, good for you. There is a time and place where you do need to be physically strong, but that's not necessarily the thing. Yes, maybe back in the days, if you were physically strong, you could do certain things better than a woman, But now we are living in an age where you don't necessarily have to be physically strong to be a man.
I feel that the evolution of resocializing men in society has not evolved with humankind. Because in the olden days, it made sense because men are just physically stronger, naturally, biologically. So it would have made sense if a man is physically strong. That means that he would be able to fend for his family. He would be able to hunt for his family. He'll be able to protect his family. But fast forward to now in our common era, that's not necessary.
And I mean, a woman, yes, it's all good to protect your woman. I mean, that's what a man should do. But I mean, you don't even really need a man to protect you, right? I mean, you can call a security company to do that for you to start off with. But I mean, yes, being physical is just a minor. It's not like the biggest thing, right? Because I wake up as a woman, for example, I'd wake up and go to work. You wake up as my male partner or as a man. We're both going to work, right? So what happens now when we come back home? Is it because the woman is still expected to cook? The woman is still expected to clean, you know? And I do believe that some families or some homes have actually evolved where a man actually does take part in the home activities and the responsibilities. But what happens in those families where it still has not evolved? Like you said,
you're not man enough.
Does that mean, like, when you wash the dishes or you cook dinner for your family, does that mean you are not man enough? I mean, if another man had to walk into your house while you're wearing an apron and
cooking and cleaning,
will that your friend or that male person think that you're not man enough?
It's quite odd, the emphasis on these aspects of masculinity. It's quite interesting how people emphasize on them, right? And not look at the entire spectrum. And what that does is it creates a problem of fragile masculinity, because now men have a constant need to prove themselves, you know, to assert that they are male, you know, and therefore, like I said in the beginning, now they go through extreme measures. As soon as a male's masculinity is challenged, especially by a woman, the only way a man feels that he is able to assert, you know, that he is male is by being physically abusive to a woman, right? You know. I mean, you and I could be a couple, right, in a household, right, and you would earn more than me. Already that challenges my masculinity, because we are socialized that I should be economically dominant. Do you understand?
And then the woman should be the one that should be bound. And so, but I think as well, so that's where the gender-based violence comes in, right?
Because now I want to assert, I'm still a man, Sandy. So what do I do? I'm physically stronger than you naturally, so I start violating you sexually.
That's being very insecure as well with who you are and where you come from. But I think it's something that you need to learn, right? As we as society, we need to teach ourselves these things as well. It does not mean if you are physically strong, then your partner, you now need to overpower them by being physically abusive. You know what I'm saying?
To assert your masculinity.
Assert yourself. I mean, there are other ways, you know, like I said, how you carry yourself, how you talk, how you do certain things. I mean, yes, you are physically stronger than me. You can beat me up today, but tomorrow I still earn more than you at the end of the day. That's just how it is.
Here's an interesting thing, right? In terms of GBV and stuff like that, and how males are re-socialized, right? So you are told that you are not man enough if you don't have a lot of girlfriends, or if we spot a girl, right? And then your friends will be like, go for him, bro. Go for him. And then if you can't, then or you're not man enough, right? Yeah. But what that does actually is that it puts that male under pressure, because now you want to be accepted by that group of friends, right? And what do? You go to that girl, and now what you end up doing is you forcefully try to sleep with her to prove a point to your friends, and that becomes rape, bruh.
But don't you think as well that male on male, they put pressure on each other as well?
Yes.
So by the time you get to a different space where there's a woman or there's a female, you're still caught up in this world where it's a man's world. It's my world. You know, I rule.
You have a sense of entitlement.
You have some sense of entitlement.
Yeah.
So I think maybe male as well, they should educate each other, like brothers, brother to brother.
We should re-socialize ourselves. So I think the solution here is to re-socialize ourselves so that we can be a better society. And then that would stop the scourge of the likes of GBV.
Definitely. It's a wrap, ne?
How many minutes was that?
How do you love me when you barely know me? Sutoka, ntombi, uyatoka, how do you love me when you barely know me? Sutoka, ntombi, uyatoka,
Black tax, is it a burden or Ubuntu? Black tax is a reality in most Black families, right? One could say it's because of the previously disadvantaged background of apartheid. That's why we have to support our families. As Black South Africans, we have different views when it comes to Black tax. Is it a blessing or is it a curse? This is an issue that seems to be a very sensitive issue amongst the Black community. One could debate if it affects a certain group of people or it affects just one specific group of people. Whether you have, from my opinion, whether you have a top managerial position or you work at Shoprite Checkers, you still are influenced by a Black tax. So it's not driven by your role and where you work and where you come from. Black
your
tax
financial
and your
standing.
financial status. So, firstly, because I said, what is Black tax a burden or Ubuntu? For those people that don't know what Ubuntu is, would you like to tell us what Ubuntu is?
Basically, it's a very popular South African proverb. A human is a human because of other human beings, you know?
Hallelujah.
So you are because of other people. So it is a moral obligation for you to help other people in order for you to elevate as a collective of people.
So what's your view? I mean, before I actually ask you this question, my view on Black tax is that there's nothing wrong with helping your family. You know, I think the problem starts when it starts being an abusive thing where your family actually starts putting this burden on you. But over and above, Black tax, there's nothing wrong with Black tax. I don't even know if we should be using the term Black tax to start off with. You know?
I have a question, based on that.
I don't even know if we should be calling it Black tax. Cool. What do you think?
Look, I'll answer it this way, right? I consider myself very fortunate because my family, as soon as I graduated, they emphasize the fact that, you know what, as soon as you start working and now that you're done, you're not obligated to come here and extend and buy groceries and do whatever that you think, you know, you need to do, right? Everything that you do from here on should be from the goodness of your own heart. Ours, as your parents, since we brought you in this world, was to support you and to help you become an independent person, a valuable contribution into society.
Exactly.
And once we have done that, once you have graduated, once we have paid for all of that, we have played our part. And it is up to you whether you feel like you would be expressing your gratitude towards us if you want to do that. But at the end of the day, it is not an obligation.
But I want us to look at the flip side of that, where you come from a family that is barely coping, a family that is so is poverty stricken, and you so happen to be the golden child. You know, you had the blessings of having maybe that bursary to further your studies. You just the smart one in the family, and you come out of that a better person, a better job, better opportunities. You've created better opportunities for yourself, you know, and maybe you've created, you've had family members helping you to reach your ultimate goal. I'm sure that your family will expect, and that's my issue. Your family will either expect or demand that you contribute towards
Their better
the
living,
family,
their
their
livelihoods.
livelihoods, and they'll even go as far as some families will even go as far as sponsor you. My sponsor now, they stand how they dress, labels,
Their
education, But I
extend
think
the house.
but I think that goes to to our conversation. What are ways to deal with black text, especially when it's toxic, to your well-being, where you start going into debt because your family is demanding so much of you. And first, just before we go further, I don't think your family should actually demand anything, money from you. You as a person, as an individual, it's up to you to say, okay, my family is lacking, let me provide them with whatever you can afford. Maybe in a month I'll give them 3.5, and that's it. I'm just saying, obviously depending on how much you afford, right?
Yo.
I mean, if you get it paid like 80 grand a month, what's 3,000? You know what I'm saying?
I feel that it should be, as much as it's not an obligation, but as a human being, as a black person, as a South African, it should be a moral obligation. Do you understand?
But
how do you
moral.
feel? How
It's a
do you
moral
feel
thing.
when you live in Sandton, right? When you've left your family in a shack and you live in a lavish lifestyle, how do you feel personally, right? As much as your mother or your sibling doesn't pressure you, to elevate them or to finance their lifestyle in order to maintain their well-being. But what do you, is you
How
as
do
a
you
human
feel
being, how do you feel?
But I think it is, you're very right, Koo. It's a moral thing.
It's a
very much a moral thing.
It's a moral obligation.
It's a
more
moral
than,
obligation, because at the end of the day, you cannot force me. If I want, I'm not saying, hey, I'm not saying I'm that person, the selfish person that'll go live a centene and leave my family living in a shack somewhere in Soweto. No, I'm not saying that. But like, when you look at it, when we zoom into it, it's actually up to you. If you don't want to do it,
it's fine, but
it's fine as well.
But
and
is it fine?
And I always have these kind of conversations with my mom, that yes, it's all like, I don't mind doing it, I'll do it because I want to do it. But when I'm being forced to do it, then
It's
we
a
are
whole
entering
different
a
thing.
different conversation on its own.
Before we even forget about this, right? The term black tax, right? So most people have a problem with it because now the thing, this term came after the clever blacks, right?
Yeah.
When I have graduated from Northwest University with my finance degree, yes, and I move all the way to Sandton, to Josie, right? I abandoned Val and and its primitive nature, right? And I just go and live my life and forget about
Jimmy comes to
where I come from. And now when my family starts struggling and when my family needs my help and they be like, Ofense, Koo, can you please help us out with this? Can you please help us out with that? I feel like, man, why? It's my money. Why are you doing it? And now I start calling it black tax. So my question is it the term black tax that's the problem? Because now usually you would be like, you're just helping out your family, but now since you feel like they are burdening you, you're calling it a black tax? Or is it just a matter of connotation?
I think it's a connotation thing, right? I think black people made it black tax,
I also feel like there's nothing wrong with calling it black tax.
There's nothing wrong calling it black tax, but I do believe that other race, like whites, Indians, colors, I do believe that they help out their families as well.
Yeah, but
so are we
then,
gonna call it white tax?
No, but then
Color
the
tax?
dynamics are very different from ours, considering
They
our
are.
harsh historical background. You understand? The most marginalized people are black people, and therefore that's why we are at loggerheads and fighting for this black tax. That's why some of our parents feel obliged, feel entitled to you paying back black tax, because they have struggled and they looked upon you and they're like, Sandy is going to take us out of this poverty, right? And therefore that's why they feel so entitled when
I think-
Sandy graduates and your mom's like,
this is my
Sandy, give us that
golden
double
ticket,
story.
golden
I
ticket.
paid for your school fees. I could have built my own double story, but no, I've seen
I sacrificed
that I sacrificed for you because I saw that
But
education
parents do
is
that.
important Therefore, it's payback time.
But parents are
Do you
supposed
understand?
to sacrifice. Parents are supposed to sacrifice for their children. Let's just start
Yeah,
there.
because the children didn't ask to be here.
Yes, because the children. And secondly, I think our parents, or maybe this new age generation, feels that black tax is not cool, and whereas our parents, our grandparents, think that it's cool. I once had a conversation with an elderly person, and they told me that no, back in the days, I think they were raised like that as well. You
Mhm.
know, a certain percentage of your salary every single month goes to your
Your
family.
family.
Your first
Hmm.
pay from your first job, that whole amount goes to your family. And then they'll decide that they'll give you a portion for transport to pull you through for that.
There's
And that's
two
how you
sides.
receive your blessings. They called it.
There's two sides to that coin, right?
I'm not done.
Oh, okay.
Yes,
Sorry.
sorry. And then so that's why they say. And then she made an example. These days it's not like that. That's why you need to actually give tithe. Is it tithe at church?
10%.
That's 10%. Yeah, so they're 10% before it went to the churches and whatnot. It used to go to the parents, and that's how she explained. That's why we were blessed, and that's why we got where we are, and wada. That's how they explained it to me. So I don't know. That's actually quite interesting.
Yeah, so now the church must know how
Now the
much I
church-
earn
Yeah,
because they'll recalculate that 10%.
and times
What's
it
the
by what
original?
part, and then they'll know.
But like I said, there are two sides to that,
Uh-huh.
right? One is a very beautiful side in a sense that it instills a level of accountability,
Uh-huh.
that social and that moral obligation. It instills it in you as a person, that ubuntu, right?
Mhm.
Giving back to your family. However, at the same time, with the way it's packaged, it seems as if it's an obligation. Whether you want to or not, you need to pay back that 10%, or you need to pay back that salary. So I'm half and half with it. I'm for it because of the positive values that it instills on a person. But I think that a proper way to instill it would probably being giving context behind it and explaining behind it, and that will give you and that will invoke your sense of obligation, your sense of humanity.
Sense of
It's
humanity,
ubuntu after all.
at the end of the day.
Yeah.
But then how can we avoid black tax? Can we avoid black tax? Is it something that we can avoid?
I don't think we should, hey? Even if we can avoid it, I don't think we should. If you can, and if you're willing to, then you should. If you're unable to, then you should explain to your family, look, this is how much I have. These are my expenses. I am able to pay this amount, or I'm unable to pay at all. I'm unable to help out at this
all,
juncture.
yeah.
And they should be understanding.
And I think as well, you must set deadlines.
Mhm.
You mustn't spoon feed. You must give what you can. Don't spoon feed your family. And I think another way we can try to avoid.
I like that.
Yeah, and I think another way we can try to avoid black tax, I think you can't really avoid it. In long term, thinking of it long term, you can avoid it, but short term you can't. I think the only way that you can try avoid it long term is maybe educate yourself, make sure that you are equipped, to enter into the workspace. You are equipped to run a business, and just do the right things for you not to be financially dependent on somebody else. And I think being financially dependent on somebody else is a nightmare to start off with.
But,
because that means you need to dance to their music. Money does that. It gives the other person power over you, because
Yeah.
as soon as they take it away, you are vulnerable.
But I like what you said about being spoon-fed. I feel it is important to empower more than being spoon-fed. What does the Bible says? You can what?
Yeah.
you can feed a man a loaf,
But
and then he'll eat a day a fish, and then he'll eat a day. But if you teach him how to fish, he'll eat a lifetime, right? So I feel your stance on it is quite very important, and it's quite powerful because it's empowering. Because how you could do that, instead of your parents being entitled to your money, you could actually, for example, buy them,
a shop for them,
open up a sponsor for them, or buy them a flat or a room, and then you'll be
rent
like,
it out.
what? The rent money, that's all yours. What a
Simple.
beautiful way of implementing
Yes.
black tax.
Yes, definitely, and maybe for a person
Thank you.
And I think maybe another way, maybe for your younger siblings, instead of giving them money constantly, maybe help them find a job.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Instead of constantly feeding their habits, help them to find a job.
Ask them to clean your car.
CV.
Your car.
Help them to draft and edit their CV. Clean your car and pay them a fee for that. Because people need to learn responsibility. And I think the younger generation now, if they learn that now, then in the long term, black tax won't be an issue because they're responsible.
So in the end, black tax is empowering.
Yeah, black tax is definitely empowering, and I don't necessarily think it's a bad thing, or it's just how it's handled. That's my take on it.
So we need to handle black tax
We need
better.
to handle this.
And there's nothing wrong with black tax.
I go give you the best, no wahala. Show you my money, I know you want it. I love me your body, yeah. I love it when you go down low. I told you my baby, yeah. I can never let go. No wahala. I'ma give you my best. No go treat you like rest, no wahala. Oh I'ma give you my best. No go treat you like rest, no wahala. I'ma give you my best. I need you in my bed. Oh she be crying in my bed. Oh no, hell nah. We on with the squad. Baby, ngikhazingi kabangawe. Ebusuku emini ngitalagawe. Girl, I love you and I need you. Bahlezi bakhuluma banama issues. Understanding, feeling I'm a gang and see the Mali. When you call me, I will give you 'cause you love me. No wahala, gotta give you all that you want, my love. Yeah, I go give you the best, no wahala. Show you my money, I know you want it. I love me your body, yeah. I love it when you go down low. I told you my baby, yeah. I can never let go. No wahala. I'ma give you my best. No go treat you like rest, no wahala. Oh I'ma give you my best. No go treat you like rest, no wahala. No wahala, my baby, yeah. Keep it steady, my love, yo. Oh. Move your body like a finesse. Girl, you know I got plenty love for you. Oh, now I'll show you that this love is natural. Yeah. I make you still be sure, baby. Yeah. Many people don't know, but when I pull up, they know. Make you wanna have more. Stand, put the guns, I'm on top. I'ma give you that time, I'ma give you that time when you need it. 'Cause she all about me, I get it. Reason why I won't let you go. I will give you the best, no wahala. Show you my money, I know you want it. I love me your body, yeah. I love it when you go down low. I told you my baby, yeah. I can never let go. No wahala. I'ma give you my best. No go treat you like rest, no wahala. Oh I'ma give you my best. No go treat you like rest, no wahala.